Welcome back to Machina Zone, the place where we journey deep into the world of machines, craftsmanship, and the timeless ways humanity has shaped raw nature into tools, homes, and history. Today, we'll step into a story that feels like it belongs to another time. Imagine standing before a giant tree, a living monument that has taken centuries to grow. And now, with nothing more than steady hands and the roar of handheld chainsaws, Japanese craftsmen show us the art of cutting such a massive tree into usable timber. This is not about speed or modern factories. It's about skill, tradition, and respect for the wood itself. In the next few moments, we'll follow the journey from felling a mighty tree to the remarkable process of sawing it into planks. So settle in, and let's witness a craft that connects the past and the present in every cut. When it comes to felling a giant tree, the Japanese follow a principle that blends patience, precision, and respect. This isn't a quick strike of machinery or a violent crash to the ground. It is a deliberate act, almost ceremonial. In Japan, large trees have always been seen as valuable resources, sometimes even sacred. Every cut is made with the awareness that such a tree might be hundreds of years old. The process begins with careful observation. Craftsmen study the tree's lean, the direction of the wind, and the lay of the surrounding land. Then comes the undercut, the first slice at the base of the tree. It's shaped into a wedge, guiding the direction in which the giant will eventually fall. The chainsaw, though noisy, is used with surprising delicacy. The craftsmen do not rush. Instead, they pause, check their work, and adjust the angle of the saw. After the wedge is made, the back cut begins. This cut, opposite the wedge, requires steady control. As the saw bites deeper into the heartwood, wedges are hammered into the opening to prevent the saw from binding and to direct the fall. The sound is steady, rhythmic, not frantic. At last, the great tree begins to lean, creak, and finally give way. It doesn't crash violently, but rather lowers itself, almost gracefully, to the earth. What's striking here is not only the technique, but the respect. In Japanese tradition, large timbers were once destined for temples, shrines, or bridges. Each trunk carried immense value, both economically and spiritually. Even today, such work reflects an understanding that one tree can provide for many generations and that waste must be minimized.
綺麗に折ったね。あ、綺麗に折ったね。
As the tree lies on the ground, there is a pause, a moment to take in its size. The trunk is straight, wide, and dense, offering material that modern builders would marvel at. In many ways, watching this process feels like stepping back in time, to an era when wood was not just a commodity, but a gift from nature that required skill and humility to unlock. And that is the beginning of the story. From here, the real work begins, turning this fallen giant into planks and beams, piece by piece, with nothing more than saws, strength, and determination. Once the tree is felled and cleaned of its branches, it's time to begin the transformation. In this Japanese mill, there are no massive industrial cranes or automated loaders. Instead, simple machines, rollers, chains, and the strength of men guide the timber into place. Watch how the rollers slowly turn the log, aligning it with the path of the saw. Every rotation matters. A single misalignment could mean wasted wood or an uneven plank. The craftsmen check the angles carefully, sometimes tapping the log with a hammer or using a wooden gauge to ensure precision. It's easy to forget that before modern automation, every large piece of wood was handled this way, with patience, muscle, and a good eye. These workers know how to read the grain, how to feel the balance of the log, and how to prepare it so that the first cut will be perfect. What you're watching is the start of a process that has changed little over the past century. Before the log can be sliced into boards, it must first be shortened. This step is called cross-cutting, using a horizontal saw to divide the long trunk into sections. The reason is simple. Even the strongest saw can't handle an entire tree at once. Notice how carefully the craftsmen measure each section. They are not cutting at random. Each piece is chosen to match the grain and remove any part of the wood that might be cracked, twisted, or discolored. The goal is efficiency, to use as much of the tree as possible while avoiding defects. The crosscut saw hums steadily, biting through the thick wood. The sawdust falls in waves, light as snow. It's a beautiful sound, steady, rhythmic, almost meditative. These shorter blocks will soon become the foundation of beams, floors, or furniture. In old Japan, such work was often done with hand saws, requiring days of effort. Today, the chainsaw does the job faster, but the principle remains unchanged. Measure twice, cut once. The craftsman's focus and respect for the material are the same as they were generations ago. Now comes the heart of the process, ripsawing. The long, continuous blade of the bandsaw begins its song, slicing through the log from end to end. The blade doesn't move fast like a chainsaw. Instead, it glides, steady and unstoppable, guided by the sawyer's hands. Watch closely as the log moves forward. It's not the saw that advances, it's the entire log being pushed, inch by inch, through the blade. Each pass creates a plank, and each plank reveals the inner beauty of the wood, the pattern of the grain, the texture, the scent. All come alive as the saw cuts deeper. The craftsmen control the feed speed and thickness with levers and wheels. Every adjustment affects how the blade interacts with the wood. Too fast, and the surface will burn or tear. Too slow, and the cut becomes uneven. It's a delicate balance of pressure and motion. For centuries, ripsawing was done with hand saws or pit saws. Two men, one above the other, pulling the blade through raw timber. Today's bandsaw is faster, but it carries the same rhythm. Each stroke connects these modern workers to the long history of carpenters and temple builders who came before them. By the end of this step, the once solid block has been turned into several rough boards, the first glimpse of the tree's new life. Asterisk. Finally, the journey comes to an end. The finished planks are stacked carefully, one over another, separated by thin wooden spacers to let air flow between them. It's an age-old method for natural drying, simple, effective, and timeless. Forklifts or trolleys move the stacks to the next area, perhaps for kiln drying, perhaps straight to a workshop. These planks will become floors, beams, furniture, or even instruments. Somewhere in their grain, the story of that great tree still lives on. As the sawdust settles and the machines grow quiet, what remains is more than lumber. It's the result of craft, patience, and respect. Each cut, each decision, each adjustment along the way has transformed raw nature into something enduring. In this small Japanese mill, surrounded by the hum of simple machines, we witness a connection between man and material, between tradition and technology, between past and present. The process might seem humble, but it carries the weight of centuries of craftsmanship.